The perfect morning that became a nightmare. Elena Rivera stood before the full-length mirror in her childhood bedroom, wearing the most beautiful white dress she had ever seen. Sunlight poured through the window, making the crystals on her gown sparkle like 1,000 tiny stars. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Today she would marry Marcus Sterling, the man she had loved for 5 years. "You look absolutely stunning," her mother said, tears filling her eyes as she adjusted Elena's veil. "Marcus is so lucky to have you." Elena smiled, her heart full of joy and hope. At 28 years old, she had everything she had dreamed of. She was a talented architect with her own small firm. She had designed beautiful buildings across the city. And most importantly, she had Marcus, her handsome, successful fiancé who promised her the world. "I need to get something from Marcus's apartment," Elena suddenly remembered. "The special cufflinks I bought him. I left them there yesterday." "But the wedding starts in 2 hours," her mother protested. "I'll be quick. It's only 10 minutes away. I want everything to be perfect." Elena drove to Marcus's luxury penthouse, her heart singing with happiness. She used her key to enter quietly, planning to surprise him with breakfast before the ceremony. But as she stepped into the apartment, she heard sounds coming from the bedroom. Laughter. A woman's voice she recognized. Her heart began to pound. Her hands trembled as she walked toward the bedroom door. It was slightly open, and what she saw through that small gap destroyed her entire world in one terrible moment. ## the truth that breaks everything. Marcus was in bed with another woman. But not just any woman. It was Sarah Chan, Elena's best friend since college. The woman who had helped her choose her wedding dress. The woman she had asked to be her maid of honor. Elena's legs nearly gave out beneath her. She grabbed the doorframe to steady herself, and the movement made the door swing open wider. Marcus looked up and saw her standing there in her wedding dress. For a moment his face showed pure shock. Then, incredibly, it changed to something cold and cruel. "Elena," he said calmly, not even bothering to cover himself. "You're early. How could you?" The words came out as a broken whisper. "Today is our wedding day." Sarah sat up, pulling the sheet around herself. But she didn't look guilty. She looked almost proud. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way, Elena. But Marcus and I have been together for over a year. We're in love." A year. Elena felt like she was drowning. "But we were planning our wedding. We were building our life together." Marcus got out of bed and pulled on his robe, his movements casual, as if breaking her heart was just another everyday task. "Let me be honest with you, Elena. I never loved you. You were useful. Your architectural talent, your designs, your connections. My mother and I needed them." "Your mother? Victoria knows about this. She planned it," Marcus said with a cruel smile. "Everything was part of the strategy. The romance, the proposal, the business partnership. We needed access to your firm and your designs. And you gave us everything so easily." Elena's mind raced back through the past year. She had merged her small architectural firm with Marcus's family company. She had signed papers that Marcus said were just formalities. She had trusted him with her passwords, her client list, her original designs. "The company," she breathed. "What did you do?" "We transferred everything to Sterling Industries. Your firm no longer exists. All your designs now belong to us. Legally, you have nothing." Marcus walked closer, and Elena saw the man she loved had never really existed. This cold stranger had been there all along, hiding behind a mask. "You should thank me, actually. Your talent will make my family billions. You just won't see any of it." ## the fall from grace. The next few weeks became a nightmare that Elena couldn't wake up from. Marcus and his mother Victoria had planned everything perfectly. The legal documents Elena had signed gave away all her rights to her work. The business merger had actually been a takeover. She found herself with no company, no income, and no legal way to fight back. The media loved the scandal. "Architect left at the altar as fiancé chooses best friend," the headlines screamed. Her reputation was destroyed overnight. Marcus's powerful family made sure everyone in the industry knew she was difficult to work with and emotionally unstable. No firm would hire her. Her phone stopped ringing. Friends disappeared. Even her apartment was gone because it had been a gift from Marcus, and he wanted it back. Elena found herself living in a tiny studio apartment in the worst part of the city, working as a waitress in a small cafe to pay her bills. Everything she had built over 10 years was gone. Her dreams of creating beautiful buildings that would stand for generations were ashes. The worst part wasn't the poverty or the shame. It was the emptiness inside her. She felt like a ghost walking through life. At night, she would lie awake and remember Marcus's cruel smile. She would think about Sarah's betrayal. She would imagine all the ways she could make them pay. But she was powerless. They had won. She had lost everything. ## the mysterious stranger. 3 months after the disaster, Elena was working the evening shift at the cafe when her manager told her she needed to serve at a private charity gala in the hotel upstairs. It was extra money she desperately needed, even though the idea of serving wealthy people made her stomach hurt. The ballroom was filled with the city's richest and most powerful citizens. Elena wore a simple black uniform and carried trays of champagne, trying to be invisible. She was grateful that the lighting was dim and no one seemed to recognize her. Then she saw him across the room. Marcus Sterling, wearing an expensive tuxedo, laughing with a group of businessmen. And beside him, Sarah, draped in diamonds and designer clothing, holding his arm like she belonged there. Elena's hand shook so badly she almost dropped her tray. She turned quickly to leave, desperate to get away before they saw her. "Careful," a deep voice said. Strong hands steadied her tray. "That's expensive champagne you're carrying." Elena looked up into the most striking face she had ever seen. The man was tall, probably in his mid-30s, with dark hair and unusual gray eyes that seemed to see right through her. He wore a perfectly tailored black suit that probably cost more than she made in a year. Everything about him screamed power and danger. "Thank you," she managed to say, trying to step past him. "Elena Rivera," he said, and she froze. "I've been looking for you." Her heart began to race. "Do I know you?" "No. But I know you. I know what Marcus Sterling did to you. I know about your stolen designs. I know about the betrayal on your wedding day. I know everything." Elena's face burned with shame. "Then you know I'm nobody. Just another stupid woman who trusted the wrong man." "Excuse me." She tried to walk away, but his next words stopped her cold. "What if I told you I could help you destroy him? What if I could give you back everything you lost and more? What if I could hand you the tools for perfect revenge?" ## the impossible offer. Elena turned slowly. "Who are you?" "Damian Blackwood." He handed her a business card that was simple black with silver letters. "CEO of Blackwood Enterprises. And someone who wants Marcus Sterling to pay for his crimes just as much as you do. Why would you help me? What do you want?" Damian's smile was cold and beautiful. "I want you to leave this party with me right now. Come to my car, listen to my proposal, and then decide if revenge is something you're interested in. Or you can stay here, serve champagne to the man who destroyed you, and spend the rest of your life wondering what might have been." Elena looked across the ballroom. Marcus was laughing loudly, probably telling some story about his success. Sarah was gazing at him adoringly, wearing jewelry that probably cost more than Elena's entire lost company. Neither of them had seen her. Neither of them cared that she was barely surviving. Something inside Elena began to burn. It wasn't the cold emptiness she had felt for months. It was hot and fierce and alive. It was rage. It was determination. It was the desire to make them feel even a fraction of the pain they had caused her. "Let's go," she said. "The devil's contract." Damian's car was a sleek black limousine that cost more than most houses. Inside, the leather seats were soft, and the lighting was gentle. He poured her a glass of wine from a crystal decanter. "I don't understand," Elena said, ignoring the wine. "Why do you care about Marcus Sterling? Why would you help me?" Damian was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was filled with a pain that matched her own. 5 years ago, Marcus was engaged to my younger sister, Lily. She was 23, brilliant and full of life. She loved him completely. What happened? He used her just like he used you. He needed access to my family's technology patents. She gave him everything, including confidential information about our company. When he got what he wanted, He humiliated her publicly. He announced at their engagement party that he was actually in love with someone else. He made jokes about how easy it was to manipulate her. He destroyed her reputation and her spirit. Damien's hands clenched into fists. Lily couldn't handle the shame and the betrayal. 3 months later, she took her own life. She left a note saying she couldn't live in a world where someone could be so cruel and face no consequences. Elena felt tears on her cheeks. "I'm so sorry. I've spent 5 years building my power and waiting for the right moment to destroy him. But Marcus is protected by his family's money and connections. A direct attack would be seen as business rivalry or personal vendetta. I needed a partner. Someone he had wronged. Someone with her own reasons for revenge. Someone brave enough to play a dangerous game. And you think that's me? I know it is. I've been watching you, Elena. I saw you lose everything. I saw you survive. I saw you working in that cafe with your head held high, even though you had every reason to give up. You're stronger than you know. And together we can make Marcus and his family pay for everything they've done. ## the terms of revenge. Damien opened a leather folder and pulled out several documents. Here's my proposal. We announce our engagement tomorrow. We become the city's most talked about power couple. We attend every social event, every business function, every place where Marcus and his family will see us. But we don't even know each other, Elena protested. In public, we'll be madly in love. In private, this is a business arrangement. The engagement lasts 1 year. During that time, I'll provide you with everything you need. Money, clothes, connections, legal support. I'll help you rebuild your architectural firm. I'll make sure you get the credit for your stolen designs. I'll open doors that Marcus thought he had closed forever. And in return, you play your part perfectly. You're my devoted fiancé. You attend events with me. You smile for cameras. You make Marcus see what he threw away. And most importantly, you help me get close to his business operations. Your knowledge of his company and your architectural expertise will be invaluable. Elena's mind was spinning. This is insane. People will know it's fake. Let them suspect. As long as we never confirm it, suspicion means nothing. And honestly, the more people talk about us, the more it will hurt Marcus. He threw you away like trash. Seeing you transformed into a powerful woman on my arm will destroy him. Why would seeing me with you matter to him? He never loved me. Damien's smile was predatory. Because I'm richer than him. More powerful than him. More successful than him. Everything he built, I built bigger and better. I'm everything he wishes he could be. And you, the woman he discarded, will be choosing me. It will eat at him every single day. Elena picked up the documents and began to read. It was a contract, detailed and professional. 1-year engagement. Specific obligations for both parties. Financial arrangements. And importantly, a clause that said either party could end the arrangement at any time if it became unbearable. What happens at the end of the year? She asked. We either go our separate ways, or we continue if both parties agree. But the revenge will be complete. Marcus's empire will be in ruins. Your life will be rebuilt. Justice will be served. And feelings? What if this gets complicated? It won't, Damien said firmly. This is business. We're both professionals who want the same thing. Revenge is cold, Elena. It doesn't mix with warm emotions. We keep this clean, execute the plan and walk away satisfied. Elena looked at the contract, then at Damien's hard, handsome face, then out the window at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Marcus was probably laughing about how he had destroyed her. Sarah was probably wearing jewelry bought with money from Elena's stolen designs. And Victoria Sterling was congratulating herself on her brilliant strategy. The old Elena, the trusting, hopeful woman who believed in love and fairness, would have walked away. She would have said revenge was wrong. She would have tried to rebuild her life through honest hard work alone. But that Elena was dead. She had died in Marcus's apartment, wearing a wedding dress, watching her dreams turn to ashes. The new Elena picked up the expensive pen Damien offered her. Where do I sign? She asked. ## the transformation begins. The next morning, Elena woke up in a luxury hotel suite that Damien had arranged for her. She had spent the night reading the contract over and over, making sure she understood every word. Now, in the clear light of day, she wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. When she opened it, she found 3 women with rolling cases full of clothes, makeup, and styling tools. "Good morning, Miss Rivera," the lead woman said with a warm smile. "I'm Christine and this is my team. Mr. Blackwood has hired us to help you prepare for your new life. If you'll give us a few hours, we'll work magic." The next 3 hours were unlike anything Elena had ever experienced. They washed and cut her hair, giving her a sleek, sophisticated style. They taught her makeup techniques that made her face look elegant and powerful. They brought dozens of outfits for her to try, all in her size, all expensive and perfectly tailored. When they finally let her look in the mirror, Elena barely recognized herself. The woman staring back looked confident, wealthy, and beautiful. She looked like someone who belonged in Damien's world. "Mr. Blackwood has excellent taste," Christine said. "He chose every piece himself. He said you were beautiful before, but the world needed to see it." Elena felt a strange flutter in her chest. She pushed it away. This was business. Damien wasn't complimenting her. He was investing in his revenge strategy. She needed to remember that. Another knock at the door. This time it was Damien himself, looking impossibly handsome in a charcoal gray suit. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready for what?" "To announce our engagement to the world." He led her down to a private dining room where breakfast was laid out beautifully. But more importantly, there were cameras. Photographers from the city's most influential magazines and newspapers. "Wait," Elena whispered urgently. "I thought we would ease into this." "Revenge doesn't ease, Elena. Strikes hard and fast. Trust me." Before she could protest, Damien took her hand and led her into the room. The cameras began flashing immediately. "Ladies and gentlemen," Damien said, his voice clear and confident, "thank you for coming. I wanted you to be the first to know that I've asked Elena Rivera to marry me, and she's made me the happiest man in the world by saying yes." He pulled Elena close and kissed her gently on the lips. It was just for show, just for the cameras, but Elena felt her entire body react. His lips were soft but firm. The kiss was brief but left her breathless. The photographers went wild, shouting questions. "When did you meet? How long have you been dating? When's the wedding? What about Marcus Sterling?" Damien handled it perfectly, giving just enough information to create a story, while keeping the important details private. He said they had met months ago and fell in love gradually. He praised Elena's talent and intelligence. He made it sound real and beautiful. Elena stood beside him, trying to smile naturally, trying to look like a woman in love. It was harder than she expected. Not because she had feelings for Damien, but because she remembered standing in front of cameras with Marcus, believing the lies he told about loving her. After the press conference, Damien drove her to his office building, a gleaming tower in the city's financial district. "Your architectural firm reopens tomorrow," he said as they rode the private elevator to the top floor. "I've already secured 3 major clients for you. They're willing to give you a chance based on my recommendation." "3 clients? Already?" "I told you, Elena. I open doors. You just have to walk through them and prove your talent, which I know you have." He showed her to a beautiful office space on the 20th floor. It had floor-to-ceiling windows with views of the entire city. There was a drafting table, a computer with the best design software, and shelves waiting to be filled with her projects. "This is too much," Elena said, feeling overwhelmed. "This is what you deserve. What Marcus stole from you. I'm just helping you reclaim it." Damien moved to stand beside her at the window. "Tomorrow, this engagement announcement will be in every newspaper and on every social media platform. Marcus will see it. Sarah will see it. The entire city will see that you didn't just survive. You conquered. What if I fail? What if I can't design anymore? What if the betrayal broke something inside me?" Damien turned to look at her, his gray eyes intense. "You won't fail. Do you want to know how I know?" "How?" "Because the woman who signed that contract last night isn't running from her pain. She's running toward her power. Failure isn't in your vocabulary anymore. Revenge has made you stronger than love ever did." Elena looked out at the city spread below her. Somewhere down there, Marcus was about to see the news. He was about to realize that she wasn't broken. She wasn't defeated. She was coming for everything he had taken, and she wouldn't stop until he felt every bit of the pain he had caused. "Let the game begin," she whispered. Damien smiled, and for the first time since her world had shattered, Elena smiled too. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a woman who had learned that kindness could be a weakness, but strength could be a weapon, and she was ready to fight. The game of hearts and revenge. The grand entrance. Elena stood in front of the mirror in her new luxury apartment, adjusting her emerald green evening gown. The dress hugged her body perfectly, elegant and powerful. Diamond earrings that Damien had given her sparkled in the light. She barely recognized the woman staring back at her. "You look incredible," Damien said from the doorway. He was wearing a custom tuxedo that made him look like a prince from a dark fairy tale. Ready to walk into the lion's den? Tonight was the Architects Guild annual gala, the biggest event in her industry. 6 months ago, Elena had been looking forward to attending with Marcus, excited to network and showcase her work. Now she was returning as Damien Blackwood's fiancée, transformed and powerful. "I'm nervous," she admitted. "Marcus will be there. Sarah will be there. Everyone who watched me fall will be there." Damien crossed the room and took her hands. "Let them look. Let them whisper. Let them wonder how you rose from the ashes. You're not the broken woman they remember. You're a phoenix, and phoenixes burn everything in their path." His words sent shivers down her spine. Over the past 2 weeks, she had spent nearly every day with Damien. They had breakfast meetings to plan their strategy. They had lunch with potential clients. They had dinner parties with his business associates. To the world, they were the perfect couple. But Elena was starting to realize something dangerous. It was getting harder to remember this was all pretend. ## the shock on his face. The gala was held in the city's most prestigious hotel ballroom. Chandelier crystals caught the light and scattered it like stars. The room was filled with the city's elite architects, developers, and wealthy clients. Elena and Damien arrived fashionably late, exactly as planned. When they entered the ballroom, conversation didn't just pause. Stopped completely. Every head turned to stare. Damien kept his hand on the small of Elena's back as they walked down the grand staircase. They moved slowly, giving everyone plenty of time to see them. Elena held her head high, channeling every ounce of confidence she didn't quite feel. Then she saw him. Marcus Sterling standing near the bar with a group of developers. His mouth literally fell open when he saw her. Beside him, Sarah dropped her champagne glass. The sound of it shattering was loud in the suddenly quiet room. "Perfect," Damien whispered in her ear. "They look like they've seen a ghost." Marcus recovered quickly, his face transforming into a mask of anger. He left his group and walked straight toward them, moving so fast that people had to step out of his way. "Elena," he said, his voice tight. "What are you doing here?" "With him." "Hello, Marcus," Elena said coolly. "I'm attending the gala with my fiancé. Surely you remember what engaged couples do." Marcus's eyes narrowed. He looked at Damien with pure hatred. "Blackwood, I should have known you'd be behind this. Using an innocent woman for your revenge games." "Innocent?" Damien's voice was ice cold. "You mean the talented architect whose work you stole? The woman you betrayed on her wedding day? That innocent woman." People around them were openly staring now, holding their breath to hear every word. "I don't know what lies she's told you," Marcus said. "But Elena and I had a business disagreement. She's exaggerating everything because she can't handle rejection." Elena felt anger surge through her. "Business disagreement? You manipulated me into signing away my company. You stole my designs. You destroyed my reputation. All while pretending to love me. You gave everything away because you were desperate for approval," Marcus shot back. "That's not my fault. You were always too weak for this industry." Before Elena could respond, Damien stepped between them. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard the threat in it. "Call her weak again and see what happens." Marcus laughed, but it sounded forced. "What are you going to do, Blackwood? Hit me in front of everyone? That would be bad for business." "I don't need to hit you. I'm going to destroy you legally, financially, and socially." And I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. Damien took Elena's hand. Come, darling. Let's mingle with people who matter. As they walked away, Elena heard Sarah rush up to Marcus, her voice shrill with panic. That's Elena? She looks completely different. What if people believe her about the stolen designs? Don't worry, Marcus said, but he sounded worried. She can't prove anything. Elena smiled to herself. He was wrong. She could prove everything. And she would. ## the power move. The rest of the evening was a carefully choreographed dance. Damien introduced Elena to every important person at the gala. He praised her talent loudly and often. He made sure everyone knew that she was reopening her architectural firm with several high-profile projects already secured. You designed the Morrison building? A famous developer asked Elena. I thought that was Marcus Sterling's work. A common misconception, Elena said smoothly. I created the original designs when my firm was briefly merged with Sterling Industries. Mr. Sterling claimed credit for my work. It's something I'm working to correct. The developer's eyes widened with understanding. I see. Well, if the Morrison building was your work, I'd love to discuss a project I have coming up. Your design aesthetic is exactly what I need. By the end of the night, Elena had 4 new potential clients, all people who had previously worked with Marcus's company. Word was spreading fast. The talented architect wasn't dead. She was back and better than ever. But the real victory came when the gala ended. Damien pulled Elena onto the dance floor for the final waltz. The lights dimmed, and the music swelled. He held her close, one hand on her waist, the other holding hers gently. You were perfect tonight, he said softly. Marcus looked like he was going to have a heart attack. I couldn't have done it without you, Elena admitted. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Something shifted in Damien's expression. For a moment the cold businessman disappeared, and she saw something warm and real underneath. Elena, But before he could finish, the music stopped. The spell was broken. Damien stepped back, his professional mask sliding back into place. We should go, he said. Tomorrow we start phase 2 of the plan. ## the corporate warfare begins. Phase 2 meant taking direct action against Marcus's company. Over the next few weeks, Elena worked tirelessly. Damien had helped her gather evidence of Marcus's theft. Emails she had sent him with her designs. Timestamps that proved she had created the concepts first. Testimony from former employees who had watched Marcus take credit for her work. She filed legal complaints with the Architects Guild. She posted careful statements on social media, not accusing directly but raising questions. She let her work speak for itself. The results were dramatic. 3 of Marcus's biggest clients pulled their contracts, saying they preferred to work with the original creative mind. 2 magazines that had featured Marcus's work published corrections, noting that the designs were actually Elena Rivera's. The architectural community began buzzing with gossip about fraud and theft. Marcus's company stock began to drop. His mother Victoria called an emergency board meeting. The Sterling family's perfect reputation was cracking. Elena sat in her office, reviewing the news with satisfaction. Her phone rang. It was Damien. Have you seen the business news? He asked. I have. Sterling Industries lost $2 million in market value today. That's just the beginning. I'm about to poach their top 3 architects. Without talent, Marcus has nothing. Elena should have felt pure joy. This was everything she had wanted. Revenge was sweet and satisfying. But something else was happening, something she hadn't expected. She was falling in love with Damien Blackwood. ## the moment everything changes. It happened on a business trip to the coast. Damien had secured a meeting with a potential client who owned several hotels. He wanted Elena to pitch her designs for a luxury resort. They flew on Damien's private jet and stayed at a beautiful beach house overlooking the ocean. The client meeting went perfectly. Elena presented her ideas with confidence, and the client signed a contract on the spot. That evening they celebrated on the beach. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Elena stood at the water's edge, feeling the cool waves wash over her bare feet. Happy? Damien asked, coming to stand beside her. I should be, Elena said. We're winning. Marcus is losing. Everything is going according to plan. But I'm confused. She turned to face him. This was supposed to be simple. Fake engagement, business arrangement, cold revenge. But it doesn't feel simple anymore. Damien's jaw tightened. Elena, we talked about this. We agreed not to complicate things. I know. But tell me honestly. When you kiss me for the cameras, are you pretending? When you hold my hand at events, is it all just an act? When you look at me like you're looking at me right now, is it strategy? Elena. Because I'm not pretending anymore, she said, her voice shaking. I thought I could separate business from emotion. But I can't. I've fallen in love with you, Damien. And I need to know if I'm alone in this feeling. The silence stretched between them. The ocean waves crashed rhythmically. The sky darkened from gold to purple. Elena's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her chest. Finally Damien spoke, his voice rough with emotion. You're not alone. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her. This wasn't for cameras or show. This was real and desperate and filled with months of denied feelings. Elena wrapped her arms around his neck, kissing him back with everything she had. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. I've been fighting this from the beginning, Damien admitted. I told myself you were just a partner in revenge. But you're so much more. You're brave and brilliant and beautiful. You make me want to be more than the cold man planning destruction. You make me want to live, not just survive. What do we do now? Elena whispered. The contract says no emotional complications. Forget the contract. Damien cupped her face in his hands. I don't care about revenge anymore. I care about you. I love you, Elena. Those words, the words Elena had been desperate to hear, should have made her happy. But instead, a cold fear settled in her stomach. Because falling in love made her vulnerable. It gave her something to lose. And she had learned the hard way that love could be used as a weapon. ## the dangerous complication. That night, Elena and Damien talked for hours. They decided to continue their revenge plan, but now as real partners, not just contracted ones. They made love under the stars, and for the first time in months, Elena felt truly happy. But the universe has a cruel sense of timing. The next morning as they returned to the city, Elena's phone buzzed with a news alert. Her blood ran cold as she read the headline. Blackwood Rivera engagement. Business deal or real love? Contract leaked online. Someone had gotten hold of their original agreement. The one that laid out their fake engagement. The one that proved this had all started as a revenge scheme. How is this possible? Damien grabbed his own phone, scrolling through the news. That contract was locked in my personal safe. Who has access to your safe? Only me, and his face paled. My assistant. Victoria Sterling must have bribed her. The story was everywhere. News sites, social media, industry blogs. Everyone was talking about how Damien and Elena had faked their engagement to destroy Marcus Sterling. The media painted them as cold manipulators. Some even suggested Elena had faked her original story about Marcus stealing her designs. This is a disaster, Elena said, her hands shaking. All our credibility is gone. My new clients will think I'm a liar. Your business reputation will suffer. We can fix this, Damien insisted. We'll hold a press conference. We'll tell the truth. That yes, it started as a business arrangement, but we fell in love for real. Who will believe us? Everyone will think we're lying to save face. Her phone rang. It was Marcus. Against her better judgment, Elena answered. Well, Marcus's voice was smug and satisfied. How does it feel to be exposed? To have everyone see what you really are? A manipulator just like me. How did you get the contract? Elena demanded. My mother is very resourceful. She knew you and Blackwood were up to something. She just needed proof. Now the whole world knows you're both frauds. We're not frauds. We're people who fell in love. Marcus laughed. Love? You don't know what love is. You're too damaged, Elena. I broke you and you'll never be whole again. That's my real victory. Not the business or the money. The fact that I destroyed your ability to trust and love. He hung up, leaving Elena staring at her phone with tears streaming down her face. ## the impossible choice. The next few days were brutal. Elena's new clients canceled their contracts. Magazine interviews were pulled. Industry colleagues who had just started respecting her again turned their backs. Victoria Sterling gave interviews painting Elena as a con artist who seduced Damian Blackwood for money and revenge. She suggested Elena had never been talented at all, that Marcus had been generous to work with her. Damian's company also suffered. Investors questioned his judgment. Board members suggested he step down temporarily. His reputation as a cold, calculated businessman was damaged. "This is my fault," Elena said as they sat in Damian's office late one night. "I should have been stronger. I should have never gotten you involved in my mess." "Stop," Damian said firmly. "None of this is your fault. Marcus and his mother are sociopaths. We underestimated them. Maybe we should end this. The engagement, the relationship